Hi, Andy XL back with another NFXL podcast. And here I'm going to start looking at my offensive players to thrive in 2026. A number of them I'll go through quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. But in this piece, I'm going to concentrate on four quarterbacks that I think may well all have career years, the best year of their careers to date so far in 2026. So, four of them, and let's start with Trevor Lawrence of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Lawrence entered the NFL as the presumptive next great NFL quarterback, and after 5 years, that has not quite panned out as predicted. He does have 4,000 plus passing yards in those 5 years, though. And the second half of last season seemed to see Lawrence emerge from his cocoon to be the elite quarterback that he was expected to be. He led the Jags to 8 consecutive regular season wins. In that winning run, Lawrence averaged over 250 yards a game passing through 19 touchdowns and only 5 picks. Three of those picks coming in one game against the Cardinals. Um, and so he had 5 of those 8 games without a pick. He also rushed for 5 touchdowns in those 8 games, and that run pretty much started with the arrival of Jakobi Meyers and the emergence of Parker Washington at wide receiver. So again, looking at those 8 games, Myers had 442 yards and 3 touchdowns. Washington had 537 yards and 3 touchdowns. Those two were key weapons for Lawrence, especially as Brian Thomas missed the last 4 games of the regular season hurt. On the basis all three of Thomas, Washington, and Myers once again average 50 yards a game in 2026, that gives Lawrence 150 to 200 yards a game from those three alone. Adding Travis Hunter, who will be returning from injury, although he may well play more defense than offense in 2026, and tight end Brenton Strange, that could well add 75 yards more receiving a game. So this is the first season he Lawrence will have this array of receiving talent available to him, meaning he has the weaponry to pass for 200 to 275 yards per game. And that would get Lawrence close to his first 4,500 passing yard season. Certainly it's in excess of 4,000 passing yards again, and maybe his first 30 passing yard touchdown season with it. Adding to this the departure of star running back Travis Etienne via free agency and a more committee approach at running back likely to be in place for the Jags. And it could be more onus on Lawrence and the passing offense to be the difference um, makers aligned to increased use of Lawrence as a runner, as we saw last season. And I think Lawrence could be the number 3 fantasy quarterback next season. That would raise his profile to the level of being an elite NFL quarterback, which is what was always expected to him. So Lawrence is the first of the four that I expect to have career years this season. Now the second one is early in his career, so having a career year is a bit of a big ask. It's Bo Nix out of Denver. I may not, now, in the past, I may not have stated as being Knicks' biggest fan, but the arrival of Jalen Waddle is a game changer for the Broncos' passing offense and therefore for Knicks. Knicks passed for 3,775 yards as a rookie and increased that to 3,931 yards last season, where he made more passing attempts than any other quarterback in that campaign. In 2024, Knicks had Cortland Sutton and a make-do set of wide receivers behind him. In 2025, Sutton was once again their main man, although Troy Franklin did emerge as a wide receiver who could provide an alternative to Sutton. So in 2026, Sutton and Franklin, who averaged over 100 yards a game last season between them, will be joined by Waddle, who averages close to 65 receiving yards a game. With Marvin Mims, Pat Bryant, Lil Joel, and Humphrey still there in the supporting roles, they are more suited than to being over relied on prior to Waddle's arrival. They, what I'm saying there. Sorry, I've got that wrong. Let's start again. When Marvin Mims, Pat Bryant, Lil Jordan Horn is still there in the supporting roles, they are more suited to than being over relied on prior to Waddle's arrival. They could well add another 100 yards a game between them, meaning now has the talent at wide receiver to pass for 240 yards a game or in that area. Tight end Evan Engram and receiving back RJ Harvey could have another 50 yards a game, making in excess of 250 passing yards a game a definite possibility for Knicks in 2026. given the armory he has at his disposal. Adding the 350 to 400 yards and 4 to 5 touchdowns Nix may add on the ground, and Nix could well be a top 5 fantasy quarterback in 2026 and have his best career of his 3 to date. Next one, bit at the other end of the spectrum here. Kyler Murray, who's now in Minnesota. Another quarterback I've been critical of the past. Murray still gets my attention here. Like Trevor Lawrence, he arrived in the NFL as the first overall pick, in his case in 2019, with the highest levels of expectancy placed upon him. After 7 years in Arizona that saw just one short visit to the postseason and no single season where he threw for over 4,000 yards, with a high of 26 passing touchdowns, Murray moves on to Minnesota. He will be in inverted brackets competition with JJ McCarthy to win the starting quarterback role, but it has to be anticipated that he wins that battle, given McCarthy's indifference performance for the Vikings last season. Whoever does win that competition, and I am saying Murray will do so, gets not only incumbent star wide receivers Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison to target, but now has Juwan Jennings to add to that mix too. Jefferson is a career 19 receiving yards a game guy. Addison adds another 50 to 55 yards, and Jennings adds at least another 40 to 50, which means they could well be expected to produce close to 200 yards a game between that triumvirate. Tight ends TJ Hawkinson and receiving back Aaron Jones could add another 40 to 50 yards, making it eminently achievable for Murray as the Vikings starting quarterback to go close to 250 passing yards a game, which would give him his first 4,000 plus passing yard season of his career. He also offers a similar threat as a runner as Bo Nix, so is another who could well easily be a top 10 fantasy quarterback that pushed to get into the top 5 next season. And for me, having landed in Minnesota, he's now in a much better spot to succeed than he was in Arizona. But he had his opportunities early in his career in Arizona and didn't max them out. So this is a massive year for Murray, but I think it could be statistically the best of his career. The fourth of them is Justin Herbert of the LA Chargers. Herbert is not in a dissimilar position reputationally as Trevor Lawrence, and it is yet to be seen as one of the truly elite quarterbacks in the NFL, always flirting on the edge of that group but never quite cracking it. That is harsh on a quarterback who has averaged over 260 yards a game passing across 6 seasons in the NFL. Those numbers have dropped off in the past 3 seasons, but that's more down to scheme than him. But I think he could well return to the 250-yard plus passer he was in his first 3 seasons in 2026. He will continue to have Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnson available to him, plus Trey Harris, who may be about to have a breakout season, and a possible drafted dark horse in Brennan Thompson. With Aronde Gadsden and David Njoku added to his array of targets at tight end, plus Keaton Mitchell providing a potential big play threat as a receiver out of the backfield, and there's plenty of armory there for Herbert to work with. And I'm still not ruling it out that veteran Keenan Allen returns for 2026. If he did, Herbert could even push up towards the 4,500 yard mark next season. As he has been used as more of a running quarterback in the last 2 years, I think Herbert is a serious potential contender for MVP on what is going to be a very strong Chargers team this season. So he's another one I think could have a breakout season is the wrong term for him because for me Herbert is established as a very very good quarterback. Now can he push on to be right into that upper tiers? With the Matt Staffords, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers group, if you like. Although Rodgers obviously is at the end of his career, but you know where I'm going. So those four are my four that I particularly think might have strong seasons at quarterback this season. Next piece, I'll come back with the running backs. So I'll see you soon.